to stop me on the street last night. Said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. Oh, you seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again, you gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go! All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, all sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
The Indiana Pacers avoid elimination, winning Game 6 last night, 108-91 to force Game 7. Obi Toppin was the star of the show for the Pacers through scoring 20 points off the bench. Game 7 will be on Sunday in OKC in a winner-take-all affair. Tip-off is at 8:30. Jonathan Toews signed a one-year, $2 million deal with the Winnipeg Jets, and Toews has not been on an NHL roster since 2022-23, when he played his final season with the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Yankees host the Baltimore Orioles tonight for a 7:05 first pitch at Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays take on the Chicago White Sox with first pitch at 7:07. Former Bison pitcher Spencer Turnbull will get his first MLB start tonight as well. The New York Mets travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies at 7:17. And the Boston Red Sox are in San Francisco for a 10:15 first pitch. This will be the first time that Rafael Devers plays his former team after the blockbuster trade between the Red Sox and Giants last week. And the Bison's back in action tonight for a 6:45 first pitch against the Worcester Woo Sox. You can hear that game over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
My dad's not here right now. He's still at work. So I'm going to blast him.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I'm going to see if there's a clean version so that my parents and the people at my school will not get mad at me. We've got the spritzer filled with water, just in case if stuff gets too fire. I'm going to set up the speaker, and I'm going to listen to
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I think this is the best
Mike Schopp
feature that I've heard in a long time. I think his flow is really good in it, and I like his aggressiveness on it. And
the Bulldog.
Put not enough effort in it. I think overall his flow was good, but I don't like that mobile rapping. That was my review of
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
Didn't need the spritzer. Wasn't fire enough. No spritzer for you. No spritzer.
All right, happy Friday. Thanks for tuning in. I know you're out there with that dial just trying to get us just perfect. 550, just get it right down the center, right in the alley. There we are. Now we're nice and clear for you.
That'll be good. I got a question that has nothing to do with sports to ask you.
Is it about my hair? I get a lot of questions about my hair.
No, not today.
Okay.
Not today. How quickly do you feel like you need to use gift cards after you get them?
This is a sensitive area.
Okay.
I have a pile, think Ty Webb, in Caddyshack with fewer digits, fewer zeros. I've got a pile of gift cards. Every year, a couple of salespeople very generously, here you go. I'm thinking that they pay for those. Different ones over the years. Remember when I won that Rocket Mortgage Pick'em thing? From in the COVID year.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah,
I beat Alex Gold by one game, national contest.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to pick $1,000 worth of credit to my favorite restaurant.
Yeah.
And I got about $400 left. That was 5 years ago.
Okay. So
they're nice to take it when I go there. They sort of know me.
You're right.
Oh, here he comes.
Here comes gift card guy.
Here he comes.
Yeah. Because I had we still are, as a family, in the habit of doing this. We combine a bunch of things into Father's Day. And it was largely because of my family. Like, when July would hit, my birthday is coming up here July 1st. My mom's is very close to that. I've got a niece's birthday who's before that, and then you've got Father's Day. And when we were living in Canada in the summer, fortunate enough to be able to do that, we had part of my family didn't want to or couldn't come up there. We never wanted to blow a Saturday coming back. We're up here. We only have 2 months. We got 8 Saturdays. Right. So my family very nicely agreed to just sort of combine everything into Father's Day. So my birthday celebration with my family was Father's Day too. Mm-hmm. So I got a couple of gift cards for a sporting goods store and one for the Marshalls, TJ Maxx, that kind of thing. So it's socks and underwear time. So I hit that on my way here, and it comes to $54.43, and I've got $50 on the gift card. Great. I got some cash on me. Here's the rest. So I've got 57 cents in change from the first stop, right? Because I gave them $5 to cover the $4.43 that was
You have
extra.
a gift card that has 57 cents on it?
No. It was $54.43. I had to chip in.
Okay. So the gift card is used up.
Right. The gift card's used up, and I got 57 cents change for my socks and underwear.
Okay.
I go to the sporting goods store, pick out a single item. The other store was like, 3 or 4 different things, but $54.43. I go to the sporting goods store, $50 gift card. What I bought cost $54.43.
The same amount.
The exact same amount. I got twice. I got 57 cents in change. It was just a funny little coincidence to me, like a half an hour apart across town, and I just somehow spent the exact same amount more than the gift card both times.
All right.
So I was just sort of a little oddity to me. I enjoyed that.
Oh, that's the whole story?
That's the whole story.
Oh, okay.
But the reason I led with how quickly do you need to use gift cards is because I just got these on Sunday, and
You'll forget about them.
It was the first time I thought I have time today. I'll do that. Because if I didn't, they'd be sitting there until next year.
Well,
probably.
at least.
Right? So I got that taken care of, and I had this little oddity where it was the exact same amount more than the gift card both times at different stores.
There's a lesson there, which is use them right away or you will forget. It's terrible that I have this small mountain of gift cards. Like, they probably half are expired.
Yeah.
Maybe. And so others are out of business. I don't know.
Right.
You should give yourself, put the clock on when you get one. 54-43 or fight. That's what they're saying about Bulldog and his gift card experience. We have Sammy P today, so I thought about prop bets. I put some. I'm so gullible. I got the DM from Evan Silva yesterday about he was listening, driving through from Establish the Run. I'm all excited, and I listen to them a lot anyway. Put the podcast on, and the first team that they talked about, and they're all. Evan and 2 other guys are so into is the Vikings. Okay. So I spent 5 minutes today just making Vikings bets. That's all it takes. I don't know more than he does, so that's all it takes. I'm on the Vikings now. And thinking about having Sam on, I went in looking for some prop bets. It's never too early to do this. And at your FanDuel guy, so I used FanDuel.
Thank you.
And I found 4 Bills individual prop bets. And I wanted to ask you to rank these by your confidence in that you would be right.
Okay.
And I can give you any context you want here. I've got the Pro Football Reference pages up, the whole thing. So it's 4 bets, but it's 3 guys. Josh Allen, James Cook, Khalil Shakir. That's all you can get. There's no Tyrell Shavers. Sorry to Sal for this, but there's no Tyrell Shavers over-under, receptions for the year.
Is there an Elijah Moore?
Nobody else.
Oh, it's just those. Okay, gotcha.
No other Bills are listed.
All right.
Cook first. I'm choosing to put him first. 950.5 rushing yards. So I think what they do, and we could ask Sam if we want. I think what they do with prop bets is I think maybe the number would be 14 games, not 17 games. If you go to Mike Clay or somebody who does season-long projections, and they won't account for injury, usually.
Right.
These numbers will all be higher. Mm-hmm. But I think when you bet it, and there might also be an out where if a guy goes out for the year or something, maybe you get a refund. I don't know. I think they sort of bring down the numbers. So maybe it's as simple as, do I think this guy's going to play 17 games? Probably not, or else everybody would just do that.
Right.
James Cook, 950.5 rushing yards. So last year, for all the excitement about his touchdowns and, the quote drama this year with his contract and what's going to happen, in terms of his future, for as historic as last year was for Cook. It was 1,009.
Yeah, he had 59 more yards than that.
And he missed one game. He missed He missed 2 games. No, he missed 1 game. He did play Week 18 because he came back in and set the touchdown record.
Right.
He missed the Jet game on the Monday night at the Jets where Davis played, and Davis was over 100 in that game. So how do you feel about Cook over under 950?
My initial thought is, and this isn't really injury related, is to go under. Right now I would say go under. I'm of the opinion that I don't think they're going to do anything contract-wise. And I think if they, now that could really go both ways.
I think they will.
Okay, well, I don't. And I just sort of feel like there will be – the contract is a big part of it. So I feel like if they paid him, then they would want to really make that work and try to, like, not that they're going to chase 16 touchdowns or anything, but that they would want to make sure that he gets his workload, the workload he had last year. I don't think a contract would make them use him more. I think it's one of the reasons why I'd expect them to be reluctant to pay a big sticker on him, because I don't think they want to change his usage at all. It's effective. They've got other guys. I think they will be preparing for his eventual departure, and that could mean a little more Ray Davis. Just to sort of let's see how this looks. Let's give Davis a little more opportunity that probably comes at the expense of Cook in some way, shape, or form. I think that would be a smart thing to do. Davis is good. He has not had James Cook's last year yet, and he's only had the one opportunity. So we'll see, but it would make sense to me that they would want to sort of drive Davis a little bit more. Like, let's get this out on the open road and see what it is. Can he be the guy really to take over for Cook if we want him to? Like, can that work for us? That's really predicated on not getting an extension done. This all goes out the window if they get an extension done. I think. Then the roles, I think, would probably stay the same. But if I'm right about not getting anything done contractually with him, then I would. So I'm betting on 2 things, really, because it's predicated on they're not going to extend him. So, you could also maybe be tempted if you're them to use him up.
Right. Because
of that. But I think you're going to want to be ready. Do I need to get another guy? Well, you're going to need another guy, but do I need another 1A guy? Or is Davis that in waiting? Let's see. That would make sense to me strategically. So I would, is the correct phrasing to say fade Cook?
Yes.
In that case, I think I would want to fade him just a little bit.
It's funny how I think any of those variables you could go either way with them. You said it toward the end. I think they will come up with a new contract 2 or 3 years here in the summer. I would bet on that. And then maybe I'd be more inclined to expect what you said if they don't, which is sort of not preserve him. They're not saving him for anything. Like, he's not really worth that, or even the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. But just in his previous role where he's playing half the snaps or less, and you're just kind of running it back. If they don't, and Cook, gives them reason to think like he'll live with that, which is why I think there'll be a contract, because I just think they're playing with fire if they don't do that. So anyway, that scenario, I think you could use him way more and plan on just sort of moving on after the season. We've had this with guys. We had this with Henry in Tennessee. Like, the argument for him is last year in Tennessee was just draft him because they're just going to use him up. And, every year they kind of teams act like they're using Derrick Henry up. But he doesn't maybe have a tank.
He never gets used up.
He's never used up. So I think you could go either way with the logic on Cook. But all right, so you're under.
I'm under. Yeah. I think almost either way, I think I would want to be under anyways. Just because, we said it right at the outset. It's only 59 yards more that he had last year with this great year, and he broke a bunch of big runs last year, and that can be, I don't know how bankable that is. Like maybe those are just shorter runs. Like, whatever they end up being. He was so close, just barely over 1,000 as it is. and then you mix in these other factors, whichever way you want to lean on various factors, I think the safer play would be under.
Okay. Year before, he had 30 more carries for 113 more yards and 14 fewer rushing touchdowns in 2023. That's with Latavius Murray and even Damian Harris on the team, 23. All right, so under 950.5. How about Shakir? His receiving prop is 775.5. He's had a couple years in a row that are very similar, somewhat like Cook. It went up last year. That's not exactly right. Something I remember for saying that was similar about Shakir. But 76 for 821 and 4 last year. 10.8 yards per catch. That was down. More in a possession receiver role with some yards after the catch potential. Shakir. 821, 611 the previous year. Do you like him over or under 775.5?
I think I'm going to go over on him.
The contract, the investment,
yeah,
and the lack of
anybody else that really warrants
threats.
Being fed.
Yeah. Okay.
He's reliable. I could see, look, teams and coaches say lots of stuff at this time of the year about how they're going to use different guys. But given their receiving core, it would stand to reason that Joe Brady would have spent some time, maybe a lot of time, this offseason figuring out different ways to get Shakir off. I think he's the one guy in this offense, passing game-wise, that I would expect could grow. So I think I would lean over on him.
And I don't think there's much more there. So he would be a tough one for me. He would be last, I think, if I were to rank my own list here by confidence. Maybe not. Maybe I just go under. I don't know. 821 in a year where there also wasn't downfield stuff. There also wasn't Stephon Diggs. You know, like they ran the ball so well that they didn't need – I just don't think there's that much more there with this player. I think they would take that season they got from him last year every year of his career and feel okay about that extension.
Yeah, that's a $15 million a year season, I think, in the NFL today. That's perfectly acceptable. Wow. I think.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yeah, I know.
76 catches and 4 touchdowns.
I should have been faster.
$15 million.
I should have been faster.
Okay. Well, there's Shakir, his number 775.5. Then there are 2 Allen props. Passing is 3775.5. What would change the equation for the Bills? So last year, 37-31. He's played every game for 6 years in a row. Last year, 37-31 is his lowest since his second year, his first full season. The rookie year, he did play almost a full season, but was injured in the middle. It was a big drop. Passing, ironically, he wins the MVP anyway. Big drop last year in passing yards. The line is very close to last year's. So if you lean on his previous, his past, then you would maybe go over. What would be different about the Bills? Is the defense worse? Couldn't it be better?
I'd be stunned if it's not better. I'm gonna say stunned.
So you want, if you're Joe Burrow, right? If you're on a team where the defense is bad, your passing stats should be better for it. You're losing,
right?
You need to throw, and Allen didn't have that quote luxury last year. Defense is better, but the defense was also good to great for the balance of his career, and the numbers are all in the 4,000s. So what do you think? 37.75, just a smidge above last year's, not career low, but lowest in 5 years by a lot. Fewest touchdowns too.
I want to think about who they're playing. We say a lot that the schedule is pretty favorable. It's pretty easy. They've got the 4 tough games at home, but overall the schedule is not super hard. And you might think, and this should impact Shakir to an extent too. And I said over on him, but the number's modest enough that I feel comfortable, and he did it last year. I might lean under. if they're in control of games, if they're favored in every game, some of the spreads are already pretty big. If they're in control of games in the third quarter, then you're missing, a third of a game worth of opportunities to do anything with him, like to have him really have to get after it, right? Push the ball down the field. It could be just a lot of, let's just sustain another drive, kick another field goal. We're good. We're up by 17 now, whatever, that kind of thing. I mean, no, it's not college football. They're not going to blow everybody out, but there could be enough games that they have in hand that you don't have to be on the gas the whole time. So I think I'm talking myself into under on his passing yards.
I couldn't do it. I love unders. Overs are more fun. People love players. They bet those players. They bet overs. Is this one too obvious? Maybe if it is, you end up over where you are, where like previous 4 years, he's 500 to 600 to 800 yards above that number. Then last year happens. I mean, teams are not going to start playing the Bills differently. I don't think we have that coming in the NFL where, all right, 2 high safeties, that worked well enough, let's go back. I think defenses found that worth it. And so go ahead and run it on us, and the Bills have been happy to do that under Joe Brady. I'd have a tough – that really seems like a pretty hard bet against Allen. Mm-hmm. 219 a game is what that was last year. 219. I mean, that's like –
it's very modest.
That's Lossman.
Yeah.
219. I'd have a tough time going under on him. Just, he's the MVP, but he won the MVP with that season. And his rushing prop, the last one, is 500.5. And for him, so Allen rushing, it's the touchdowns, not the yards. It's the opposite of Jackson. 531, 524 the last 2 years, 27 combined touchdowns. I mean, if the passing stats are Lossman, the rushing stats are OJ right. For touchdowns. Do they rein him in? Again, and remember, like how they do the props, I think, is you're sort of baking in a few missed games.
Yeah.
And he hasn't missed a game almost ever.
Yeah. I feel like I would want to go under there too.
Wow.
I'm not. This is not. I don't think they're. I'm not bracing for a bad year or anything. Like I think they're going to be their normal, 12, 13 win type team here. I just wonder. It's the same point about the passing yards, really. Like how badly do we need it? And let's make sure we're as careful as we should be. I mean, as much as you got to just live with him. He's on the field. You can't really stop him. But, designed runs, that kind of thing. I don't know. I could just see them coasting a bit on really leaning into him.
All right, so of the 4, you're 3 unders and 1 over.
Yeah.
And your favorite bet is which one?
I think Shakir.
The Shakir over is your favorite?
Yeah.
All right.
And then Cook.
Cook under.
Then Cook under. The Allen ones I'm a little shaky on, but if I had to choose, I think I would lean under.
I like under on Cook because I just don't think he's great. And if anything changes contractually that's negative, or the one scenario where they pay him and they want to be more anything, that would be sort of my default is under. And I think I could get there. Because the betting line is not predicting like a big spike or anything for Cook. So I think I could get there. Sadly, there isn't Shavers or Trubisky to bet on, at least as far as I know. Sam Panayovich might have people who could get us action on Elijah Moore.
I asked about Elijah Moore because he's, to me, it's possible he becomes like their number 2 pass catcher. Statistically, and if he were listed, the value would probably be pretty good on that because he's not even a lock to be on the field, maybe even the team.
Right. No, that's right.
So maybe that's why you don't even bother listing a guy like that.
Too risky.
Right.
Too risky.
Right.
Next up, Sam Panayovich, Bet Sweats. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for being with us. This is WGR.
I don't think I've ever looked forward in my life to going to OKC. I do now. I can't wait for Sunday night. I can't wait. Game 7. I don't know if we've been in a situation that we could look as forward to a Game 7 as we can look forward to this one in quite a long time. I believe it's a pick'em. It's anybody's game.
All right, Stephen A. Smith willing to take the Pacers straight up. Fine. Give him a text. Shoot him a text. I'm sure, he's just being completely sincere and honest as always. On the line now, the host of Bet Sweats, Odyssey Sports betting insider Sam Panayovich. Insider calls are presented by BetMGM. Go check out the latest lines today on the BetMGM app, and be sure to catch Bet Sweats live 9 to noon weekdays on the BetMGM network, the Odyssey app, and the Bet 1520, where in this case, Sam and co-host Joe Ostrowski are spending considerable time on the NFC East. Bulldog, that's a division you enjoy. You love that nobody ever wins that division 2 years in a row, don't you?
It's me. You saying that is my ringtone.
Is that Stephen A?
No.
Interesting.
That was last week.
Sam, how's life?
Life is good. I do want to follow back. I don't want to forget about this parlay that one of our listeners brought up this morning on the show. But the last repeat champion in the NFC East, Eagles, 2003-2004.
Andy Reid, McNabb. Back when they were going to the NFC Championship every year and losing. Those Eagles.
It's crazy to think that nobody's repeated since then, though. And
it really is.
It's ironic because I got an email on Monday. We usually get these emails on Monday for Fox. Here's what we're looking at. Here's what's tracking. Right about the NBA, NHL, and now that the hockey's over and the basketball's almost over, my email on Monday said, well, I guess we'll just write about the Cowboys this weekend.
Yes. When all else is dried up.
Some things in sports are universal, content-wise.
It just clicks. People care. People don't care. People love. People hate, whatever it is. And then I did catch about 32 seconds of Get Up early this week, and they were debating Dak Prescott's legacy. So it must be football season, guys.
Right. It's always Cowboy season anyway, if not also football season. You brought up Dallas on this show 2 or 3 weeks ago as just a random question, like a bad team that could be good, and you asked, does Dallas qualify as having been bad? And, that's a good question. I know fantasy is different. We had that conversation last week, but I'm loving the quarterback and receivers on the Cowboys for what they cost. I mean, Lamb is a first-round pick, but Pickens isn't. Prescott's like the 11th round. Ferguson is later. And if you get the running back right, that's not an easy one, but, they're so cheap. So I'm open to Dallas being kind of the Dallas team we've seen in recent years under McCarthy, where they throw a lot and can score.
It's all math for me, man, and I'm looking at the market. I actually have my story in the queue. I'm going to file this story within the next hour or so, and I wrote about what they asked about Dallas, and their market to win the NFC East is as volatile as you can see for a team that is borderline good. Obviously Cleveland Browns are 20-1, 30-1. That's a big range, a $10 range, but the Cowboys are as low as 5.25. There's 550, 666, 675, 740, 825. Why would you bet the 550 when you can bet the 825? I don't need to tell you guys that. But when Dak's healthy, they win. They win in the regular season. 12 wins, 12 wins, 12 wins. In 21, 22, and 23. And last year they were just decimated by injuries. A lot of things have to break their way. It's a tough division. It's a tough schedule. But you have year 2 of Jaden Daniels, and you have the Eagles off of a Super Bowl victory. I hate to say this on the radio, but if Barkley were to go down, that team is not as good as everybody thinks, and they lost some guys on D. So it's not impossible, but it's all math. And I wouldn't bet them at plus 550, but damn, I'm considering them at 740 and 825.
Yeah, I know. When you mentioned this about like Mike just referenced, does Dallas count as a bad team that could be good? I think we got into Prescott as an MVP idea because I I think that there could be value there too. And boy, if they let you team like tag up, parlay some of that stuff, which I'm not sure if they do. We can't even vote on the awards here anyway. But I could see Dallas. There's the point about the NFC East. Maybe Washington, not saying like Jaden Daniels has to be on the CJ Stroud track, but maybe Washington's a little bit like Houston was last summer. Like, oh, they're up there with the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens. Oh, slow down a little bit, right? Maybe there could be some second-year turbulence with Jaden Daniels and that Washington build. So I think there could be, I'm building a pathway for Dallas to be good, I think is what I'm trying to do here.
I have turned this segment into everything I hate and everything I just ragged on, but it's the truth. It's all about the numbers and if they make sense. And I honestly think you can draw a very nice comparison between the Cowboys and the Steelers. The Steelers keep finding ways to win, even though people dog them every offseason, but they're their third best team in their respective divisions. So obviously Baltimore's the favorite, Philly's the favorite. That's unquestioned. And then on line 2, you got Cincinnati and you got Washington. Line 3 is Pittsburgh and Dallas. How is Pittsburgh 5-1 and Dallas is 7-8-1? It doesn't make sense.
I like it. Schedule's manageable. First half is easier for the Cowboys.
6 games suck. Last 6 games
Tough.
are horrible, though, before the Giants.
Well, maybe you can hedge if it works out right. Yeah. Speaking of the MVP, here's a name that we haven't talked about in this context at all for the MVP, and I doubt the price is great. If you want to make this about the price, then maybe there goes that. Couldn't Josh Allen win again? I mean, he had maybe his worst statistical year, and it's not like they went out and signed, Higgins or somebody to fix the Diggs thing, where he's, now he's got. Last year he might have benefited from what they had at receiver. And the schedule, I mean, look at the team odds, right? They're at the top of everything. We've talked about how they have 4 marquee games outside their division, if I even need to say that, and they're all at home. So, I don't know, he's one of the favorites. That's not exciting, but I think he could win again, Sam.
You know what's wild is that we have this conversation every offseason, not the three of us, but in the betting world. Joe Burrow is the Luka Doncic of the NFL MVP market. Every year he's right at the top, and I think eventually he's going to get one. I'm not saying it's this year or next year or whatever, but I don't know that the Bengals are going to be good enough for him to win an MVP. I mean, you have to be a great player on a good team or a great team, and I don't know that that's the case. I mean, his numbers are outstanding. Last year, 43 touchdowns, 9 picks, almost 5,000 yards. That's an MVP season if the Bengals aren't 9-8. So I do have questions about that defense, but your initial question, why can't Allen win it? I don't have an answer for you. I think he's clearly the most valuable player to the point spread. We did a story last postseason about which players mean more to the line, and one odds maker told me Josh Allen was more valuable than Mahomes. So if Allen was out, he'd be worth about 7 points. So let's say the Bills are at home against the Raiders and they're a 14-point favorite. If Allen's out, the line is 7. If it's Mahomes against the Raiders, the line doesn't drop as much as it does for Allen, which is wild for some people to think about out loud. But he's definitely more important to what the Bills do on offense than Mahomes is for the Chiefs. And then you got Andy Reid and all the weapons that KC has. But Josh, of course he could win it again. There's no reason he can't.
Right. I mean, the favorites are not exciting, but
right.
I think some of the narrative stuff the last couple of years, or last year, like Jackson can't win because he's won 2, and 3 is hallowed ground. And he basically dared everybody to prove that right because he had probably his best season ever.
Right.
And still didn't win. So I think, Allen winning a second is not like the word isn't contrarian. It's not offensive in any way, right? Like he wouldn't be somebody that we can't give this guy to.
But I
He's
do
not
think
that player.
I do think even though the previous year shouldn't matter, just like we talked about probably at this time last year numerous times about Jackson, Mike's making some of the same points that we did a year ago. A third MVP, that's legacy stuff. He's probably going to have to go above and beyond. And he really did and still didn't get it. I think because Allen had such modest numbers in a year where another candidate, Jackson in this case, had really better numbers across the board, except for like rushing touchdowns, Allen is going to have to go above and beyond. Like I think if he puts last year on the field again, I don't think he's sniffing the award. I think he'd have to get like back up to like 4,500 yards, I think, to get a real look.
Maybe unless they win like 14 games.
Then maybe, yeah.
Lead the conference by 2 or 3 wins.
Yeah.
Just kind of sail away. Then, would you say the same thing? I mean, the winner is almost always on a team that wins 12 games or more.
I agree. I think that's a scenario where you could get away with last year's numbers and do it. What do you think, Sam?
All I think is there's some fan driving around right now, some Bills fan saying, just win a playoff game, please. That's all that matters.
Well, they win a playoff game every year. The problem is they don't win 3. They've had to win 3 every one of these years, and they've not managed to pull it off.
Make it a road playoff game, because the Bills haven't won a road playoff game since Kelly.
Yeah.
A big playoff game. There we go. I missed one big word. A big playoff game. How about that?
Sam, Mike mentioned you guys on your show, you and Joe, have been talking about the NFC East. What do you think about what I said about Washington? We kind of blew past that, just continuing to talk about the Cowboys. But are you bullish on them, or do you think maybe pumping the brakes is in order with them?
I usually like to short those quarterbacks that boom in year one, because usually the regression is real. But C.J. Stroud was an outlier last year, and there's really nothing stylistically that says Jaden Daniels is just going to fall off a cliff. And I don't think people realize just how accurate he was and how quickly he got the ball out. That doesn't appear like it's something that's going to just regress. Mm-hmm. As a rookie, he completed almost 70% of his passes, which is, I don't want to say unheard of, but it's very unlikely that a kid comes into the league that prepared and that ready. And he can also, he can take off. We saw that throughout the playoffs as a guy who can, as I always say, boogie about the cabin, 900 rushing yards. So a dual threat. I think he's very difficult to guard or defend or scheme for when it's 3rd and 4. How do you stop that? And that's why they constantly kept moving the chains. And the other thing about Washington that also goes under the radar is that Dan Quinn morphed from like this moron to this analytically driven genius overnight. And I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I remember when Dan Quinn was in Atlanta at head coach, it'd be 4th and 1 at the opponent's 40. He'd be like, we're punting it.
Right.
We're going to punt it, and we're going to pin them inside the 5. And now it's 4th and 3 at midfield, and they're going for it. So he is adjusted more than people give him credit for. I don't think they got worse either. I mean, they added Tunsil to play left tackle. You bring in Debo, who will be reinvigorated to play well. It's a loaded division. People talk about the NFC North. The NFC East, I think, is better top to bottom.
Funny when a coach reads a book one time, or his owner does, and sees the light, and then suddenly Quinn. So 2 years ago, Quinn was the Dallas defensive coordinator getting lit up by Jordan Love in the playoffs. Remember that at home?
Yeah.
Like, what happened to Dallas? Their defense was great, and then the Packers just walked right down the field time after time after time and blew them out. And, Kingsbury, Sam, not too different from how you described Quinn. That's 2 wrongs making a right. Quinn and Kingsbury put together in Washington, and that went well. I have a tough time fading Daniels. I mean, he is being, in fantasy, he's being drafted right with Allen and Jackson. Like, that's the tier. Above Hurts. And, I mean, it's like, do you believe it? You have to sort of maybe look in the mirror for a second, but I have a tough time betting against him. That season was so good. Houston's line fell apart, and maybe their coaching wasn't really all that. The coach is out. The offensive coordinator, anyway, is out in Houston. So does Washington present that threat? I don't think so.
So the division is going to be a lot of fun, whether we're talking Eagles or Commanders or Cowboys, and it'll be fun to watch and laugh at the Giants, whatever that is, whatever's going on there. Also, let's weave this into the chili. They face the NFC North and the AFC West.
Oof.
So you're going to see Cowboys and Chiefs, Cowboys and Lions, Cowboys and Vikings. So you do that crossover and think about all the matchups between, the Eagles in the NFC North and the Eagles in the AFC West. It's going to be a very fun division, and I guess I don't want to lay a price on the Eagles right now. I have no interest betting the Eagles to win the NFC East because everybody else is going to do it.
And I think, too, the Giants will be tough to beat. I mean, relative to what they've been or their reputation. The roster's pretty good. Russell Wilson.
The pass rush should be pretty sick.
Yeah, I think maybe they won't be a pushover, which all the more reason to bet an underdog in that division if the Giants can, compete with anybody, compete with the top teams, if not beat them. I think that's interesting. Let's get to the NBA here, Sam. So whether this is a betting question or not, I don't know. It's going to Game 7. Oklahoma City was the biggest favorite ever. Biggest road favorite in a finals game ever last night, and they got crushed. What did everybody get wrong about this?
I think we talked about this last week. I think Oklahoma City was way too expensive at minus 700, but I certainly wasn't looking to run to the window and bet Indiana. I thought that, okay, this will be over in 5 or 6, like most people thought. I even heard some sweep talk, which is disrespect. I never thought sweep. I'm shocked that we're at Game 7, but I also think you look at this Pacer team that was a dog in every game against Cleveland, beat them in 5, was a dog a lot against the Knicks, and now has been an underdog at, 10.5, 6, and 5.5 that's won outright in 3 finals games. I did not see them on my bingo card being down 40 points in Game 6 in a closeout. Didn't see that. Halliburton, he jolted them, boys. He did. I mean, when he comes out and he's ready to go and he's firing early, granted he didn't make a lot of those shots early, but they fed off the vibe, man. And I'm not a big vibes guy, but that building was insane. They weathered that early storm. They went down 10-2 and then just went on a crazy run that, ironically enough, was spearheaded by T.J. McConnell, of all people. It's just a team of guys that play hard, that dive on the floor, that know how to win. And let's also pay our respects to Rick Carlisle. This guy's been doing it at a high level for a long time. They have not been outcoached once in this series, I don't think.
Well, the beginning of the second half, early third quarter last night was the opportunity for Oklahoma City to flex because Indiana started out, I mean, they had the ball first, brick, and neither team, I think it went 3 minutes before somebody made a basket in the third quarter. So, neither team was making shots, but Oklahoma City was the team trying to catch up, and that was your chance. I mean, we've seen this team in the playoffs in 3 minutes score 16 points, and they just could not make a basket.
Yeah, it was a tough watch, and that was the easiest under of the entire series. They didn't crack 200 points in game number 6, 108-91. The total was 219, 220, and now the game 7 total is down to 215.5. But guess what else is down? This is the cheapest you've been able to bet the Thunder at home in a long time, guys. Oklahoma City minus 7.5. Game 1 was 11. Game 2 was 11.5. And I assure you, the public will be on Indiana in Game 7. They're going to take the points.
That sounds right. How did you bet the Open, the U.S. Open last week? Or if you don't have a story on that front, wasn't it great to watch?
I wish I bet DeChambeau to miss the cut instead of finish top 10. That did not happen.
I couldn't find, Sam, I went looking. It was for McIlroy, so I'm glad I didn't find it. I couldn't find miss the cut anywhere. I could only find make the cut.
Scheffler was 7-1, 8-1 to miss the cut. Rory was 5-1. DeChambeau was about 450. It was fun. I know we talked last Friday, and there were so many things going on, including Skeens shoving again against the Cubbies. Just watching these golfers get dominated by a golf course is very entertaining, and those are the best players on planet Earth. Launching clubs, throwing hissy fits. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it.
Scheffler on the range with the hat sideways, yelling at the coach was that was very relatable. It's like my kid telling, you did something with your face. Shut up! I don't want to hear you right now.
But you had to love the ending, Sam, just as a sports fan, right?
I did. How about that putt? Nobody can putt all weekend, and then he drains a 60-footer. By the way, Scotty Scheffler threw a hole or two today Oh, no, is he finished today?
He's done.
I guess he is finished.
69. Yeah,
Wow.
only one under par today.
Oh, Joe was saying he's going to shoot 27 under, and I was like, I don't know about all that. Easy course, though.
I think the wind kicked up today, I think is what I read. So it's keeping scoring down today.
Leave it to Justin Thomas to compete in a major, or not compete in any majors, and then go head-to-head in the Travelers. I love it.
Very good, Sam. Weekend plans?
Nothing. Actually wide open, so I'll probably be in the yard again. That's how it goes. You guys know that.
There's good seats available at RPI for the lacrosse tournament in Albany if you want it. I'll give you direction. I'll send you direction.
Sam's dying to get back to Albany.
You just took the drive, right? Like, it's my turn this week to hit Albany. You'll know all the spots.
Yeah. I think I texted you both the picture when I was leaving Albany. I got to that part of the high where it was like, go left for Boston, go right for Buffalo. I almost went right.
You thought about it.
Right.
Thank you, Sam, for your time as always.
All right, guys. See ya.
Sam Panayovich from Bet Sweats with Joe Ostrowski weekday mornings. Check it out on the Bet 1520 or the Odyssey app. Insider calls presented by BetMGM. Check out the latest lines today on the BetMGM app. Yes, Albany tonight.
Right from here?
Right from here.
All right.
Right from here to the airport to Albany tonight.
Right. The kid is right from the airport.
I'm going to need my son for this.
To Albany. Right.
Yep. He's not going home.
He's getting around.
I had to pick up his jersey and his helmet, everything from the house. So we had that because there's not going to be time for him to get home after a week away.
Yeah. Right.
How about the Jonathan Taves news?
Really cool. That's been percolating since before I think even the season ended. There was word that he was going to continue his career, and I don't know that there was authoritative word that it was going to be Winnipeg, but he's from the area, and it just sort of made sense. And yeah, really, really cool. Considering, I mean, everything he went through physically, just at the end of his time in Chicago, really, really respect the work to be done after, I mean, he's accomplished so much already in his career. 3 cups as the captain of the Blackhawks. And to do the work to get back to where you can get on the ice and play in the NHL again is really, I mean, he hasn't done that yet, but I'm assuming it's going to happen, and it's really, really inspirational, I think.
He's missed the last 2 seasons entirely. He also missed the 2021, not sure if that was a half season or what that was. Like the second, hockey has 2 COVID years. I think of it as.
Yeah.
The first one was cut short, and then the second one, started late.
Right.
But he didn't play that second year or either of the last 2. But word has it, not official yet, can't be until maybe July 1.
Yeah, for some reason they got to wait until then. But he's agreed. The Jets have announced it. Like, it's really, really cool.
5 hockey reference nicknames.
Ooh.
Come on with these.
Captain something. Captain Clutch.
Captain Serious.
Okay. All right.
The rest are terrible. Taser.
Well, it's
hockey.
Right. Taser, Tazy.
Taser, JT. Got to be JT
Yeah.
if your name is initials are
Yeah.
JT. Johnny. Really? That's a nickname? Johnny? And J-Bone. J-Bone. Who runs the nickname department at my favorite sites, the reference.com sites? Who are the ad wizards who came up with that one? J-Bone. Next, Theo Gereminger. Yes?
J-Bone is terrible.
They're all terrible. Captain Serious isn't so bad. We will talk Bills, rookie running backs, Browns quarterbacks, all kinds of different fun football topics with Theo after the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
The Indiana Pacers avoid elimination, winning Game 6 last night 108-91 to force Game 7. Obi Toppin was the star of the show for the Pacers, scoring 20 points off the bench. Game 7 will be on Sunday in OKC in a winner-take-all affair. Tip-off is set at 8:30. Jonathan Taves signed a one-year, $2 million deal with the Winnipeg Jets. Taves has not been on an NHL roster since 2022 or 2023 when he played his final season with the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Yankees host the Baltimore Orioles tonight for a 7:05 first pitch at Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays take on the Chicago White Sox tonight, first pitch at 7:07. Former Buffalo Bison pitcher Spencer Turnbull will get his first MLB start tonight as well. The New York Mets travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies at 7:17, and the Red Sox are in San Francisco for a 10:15 first pitch. This will be the first time that Rafael Devers has played his former team after the blockbuster trade between the Red Sox and Giants last week. And the Buffalo Bison's back in action for a 6:45 first pitch against the Worcester Red Sox. You can hear all of the game action over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
I always felt bad for the clothes that I said I didn't like. Oh, I'm sorry, pants.
Wow.
But I'm gonna go with these pants.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That's incredible.
Is that super crazy?
I think it's a little crazy.
It's Mike Schopp.
Do you get that feeling when you have to go through your closet every once in a while and you're looking at this t-shirt that you've had for a very long time and you're like, oh man, me and this t-shirt, we've been through it. We've
really.
Been through a lot. No, you just can freely get rid of that t-shirt, but this stranger t-shirt that you're just, taking a look at the store, you feel bad for that t-shirt, not the t-shirt that you've been through, life with.
Yeah, it's a different thought to me.
Now that is weird.
And the Bulldog.
The shirts that you wore, you loved. They had time with you. There's nothing to be sad about. The stuff you don't pick never got
it's the ending of the relationship. It's a sad time. No one enjoys a breakup. You're breaking up with that t-shirt, and you're not even giving it to a nice new family or say, oh yeah, go have another nice life. You're throwing it in the trash. That t-shirt has nowhere to go.
It's Mike Schopp and the Bulldog.
This is easily the weirdest conversation we've had ever.
Think about some t-shirts. Some t-shirts you don't even give that luxury of going to the trash. You chop it up into a shop rag and you wipe grease off with it. Yep. How do you think that t-shirt feels?
I should feel
subjugated.
I should feel bad.
Subjugated. On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Haven't heard that one in a while. Never Joe's here for a week. It's new old stuff.
Subjugated t-shirt.
Maybe that t-shirt is happy to still be a part of your life.
Miss you, Ryan Gates, out there, wherever you are, man. Hope you're well, you and the fam.
I see Ryan.
Yeah, good for you.
I think he's good. He's the same, I think.
Good.
Yeah, good. With us now on the West Shore Hotline is Theo Greminger, who we hope is good. Theo is
doing great.
All right, covered fantasy points. He's been on our show many times by now, so you should be familiar with Theo. Nobody works harder, produces more content in the fantasy space than Theo. Theo, we've talked a number of times, as I said, and I feel like the Friday comes, you're on our menu here, so to speak. And all right, Bills, how do we make fantasy interesting to a Bills audience that maybe doesn't all play fantasy? So who's obvious? James Cook, we've talked about him probably every time. Dalton Kincaid, we talk about him every time. You know who we don't talk about every time? Josh Allen. Maybe we should try that.
Yeah, I've had this conversation on a couple of shows recently about how the elite quarterback tier is pretty affordable, and he's going in a range of drafts where we've seen landmines in other years. There's this sort of idea that the 3-4 turn is going to produce all these league winners, but it also produces these guys that just don't hit. So Josh Allen is really one of the best bets to make. And also this year with Lamar Jackson and also Jaden Daniels getting pushed up significantly, it's hard to see Josh Allen it's hard to see Josh Allen being a bad pick for you. Is he the best pick you can make at the 3-4 turn in an FFPC 350 or main event? Not sure. That'll be proven, but I don't think he'll be one of the worst ones. The guy's been incredibly consistent, and he also is the kind of player that can give you just incredible spike week production. And if you time that right, that could be the key to winning a ton of money.
I think the hardest thing about picking one of those three quarterbacks there isn't the player that you're not taking. Like, I don't need DJ Moore so badly that I would have to have him or Mike Evans over Allen or Lamar Jackson. But I'm regretting picking quarterbacks there sometimes, Theo, because there are so many, I think, maybe not on the same level, but good options later. Like the Prescott range. What is that, round 11? Trevor Lawrence is like round 15 in drafts, and he almost definitely won't come in above Allen. But whatever receiver I'm taking there is not coming in above Mike Evans, probably. So that's my one hang-up when it comes to the so-called elite QBs is I get to the middle or the end of these drafts, and I kind of wish I still needed a quarterback because they're good options.
Yeah, there's good options. But I think that one thing that the mobile quarterbacks who give you rushing production are getting pushed up and up in drafts, and it's harder to find those guys than it was years back. Like, we look back a few years, go way back, the Lamar Jackson MVP year, people were drafting him like below QB12 or right around QB12, somewhere in that QB12 to QB15 range. You basically won your draft when you drafted Lamar Jackson in that range. Mahomes the year before was unbelievable. He was the MVP winner that year, and you were getting him lower. But now it's like every single year these guys get pushed up and up, and I think the rushing production especially, like a guy like Justin Fields. Like Justin Fields, I think would be the one where he could potentially rush for 1,000 yards, and you're occasionally able to get him inside of round 10, inside of round 11. But sometimes in those drafts where guys just get pushed down, he could be one that really gets you there. You bring up guys like Trevor Lawrence, and I would say, what's the upside for Trevor Lawrence? Like, he could have a great season and be QB8, and that's not necessarily going to help you beat the Josh Allen drafter. So I don't know. I think if you're going to wait on quarterback, I don't necessarily think I'd wait as long as like the Trevor Lawrence, CJ Stroud tier. I think that might be a little bit too late. If I'm going to do that, I might as well wait a little longer and grab like the unknown of J.J. McCarthy, who you can get around later. I'd prefer if you don't want to go with the early ones. I think this year the market is pretty right to dive into some of these low-end QB1s. I mentioned Fields. I think he's interesting. Drake May is pushed up to like QB14 right now. I think he could have a tremendous amount of rushing upside. It's sort of a one-man gang in what should be sort of a limited New England Patriots offense. So I'm with you, Mike. I think waiting is okay, but I think you need to like really time your pockets and find those valuable windows and say what guy can like really, really push my team up from this range. Because you don't want to get stuck drafting a guy QB like 16 and he finishes as the QB 12, QB 11. That's not really helping your team.
Theo, on Allen's rushing, it's a subject that we have spent a lot of time on every offseason since really since he reached the level he's at now. And some of that has been taking cues from the Bills because sometimes management and coaching has sounded like, they're worried about him exposing himself that way and they want to save it for when it really matters and that kind of thing. When do you think, will it take him actually having a bad year rushing or an injury for the fantasy world to sort of slow down on his rushing being such a given? Because it stands to reason at some point or another, we don't know where that cliff is going to come, but I feel like at some point here, hoping he's the Bills quarterback for another 7 or 8 years, that he's not going to be jumping over linebackers forever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. He's been incredibly efficient with the touchdown rate as a passer. You've seen him hit at least 28 touchdown passes in every season since 2020. Upside was like that 37-38 touchdown season a little earlier on in his career in like 2020. But rushing-wise, it's interesting. You bring up like the past 2 seasons, his rushing yardage has only been in the 500s, which is still elite, but not like the next level, nearly 800 rushing yards he gave you in like 2021. But he's been so efficient with the touchdowns. The last 2 seasons, 27 rushing touchdowns. For me, he can still maintain that even if the rush attempts go down, he's just such an efficient runner around the goal line, and he's just a massive human being. It's like a 33-year-old Josh Allen. Like, the tendencies for him will probably still be pretty similar in terms of when he has an opportunity to score rushing touchdowns, probably go for it. So I think that gets a little bit overrated, and that's sort of a conversation now with dynasty managers is Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, as they're nearing 30 years old, are we going to see these guys start declining in their rushing numbers, which is sort of the appeal for the Jaden Daniels. You get a discount there. But I don't know. I think it's very hard to predict that sort of thing. I mean, we saw Cam Newton towards the end, and that's obviously not in the same level of player as Josh Allen, but Cam Newton never really got away from it. These guys, it's just part of their DNA to put their head down and find the goal line.
Yeah, that's the difference between Allen and Jackson, I think, projecting forward, is that Allen is much more Newton, where it's physical. And he started to slide a little bit more the last couple of years. They've kind of made a joke about it a little bit at times here. Whereas Jackson is so fast and slithery, like you never see him take a hit. And I don't know, like he doesn't have to stay fast forever. But I think maybe that's more sustainable just as a runner. You know, guys like us are drafting all these guys. I mean, Allen, Jackson, Daniels. Do you have a favorite of the three?
It's a really tough one, and I sort of took a cop-out here in my top 50 overall at Fantasy Points, which is going to become a top 100 soon, and I ranked them all back-to-back. I'm a slightly ahead of consensus on all three versus ADP. I want to see you draft them a few spots earlier than they actually go in to make sure you get one. Daniels, I think, is probably, if you're looking for a little bit of a discount in some drafts, he goes as the QB3, and it might be 8 spots behind Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. So if you're looking for that, I think Daniels is there. Daniels is one where he was second to Lamar Jackson in rushing yardage last year, and they've really improved the offensive line in Washington. They've attempted to improve wide receiver 2 with Deebo Samuel. There's just a lot to like, and the Vegas markets are projecting Washington to be one of the highest scoring teams in football. So I think he's worthy of being kind of pulled into that big 2. Jalen Hurts goes a little bit later. He's interesting to me as well because he's nobody's really enthusiastic about Hurts, and he also gives you that rushing upside. And then I'm very much into Joe Burrow at ADP as well. Burrow, I think we could see a 50-touchdown pass season out of him. Peak Peyton Manning-like numbers, because I think everything's sort of setting up for Burrow with sort of a poor defense, potential for more shootouts in that division than we maybe have seen in the past, and just the weapons he has around him and the comfort level he had last season. I think Burrow's a fine pick as well, not giving you the sort of rushing upside as those other 4. But if you want to go early quarterback, I think he's very appealing as well.
One area, Theo Greminger, our guest, one area where the Bills are really not in play is rookie running backs. And I saw you tweeting about the many interesting, if not exciting, rookie running backs there are on the board this year. How many are we talking? Everybody listening knows who Ashton Genty is, and that's a first-round pick in fantasy football. Then you have, like, the pocket, Hampton, Harvey, those guys, Judkins, Henderson, rounds 5 and 6 there. That's, high draft capital, okay. But there are a lot more, Theo, I think you'd agree.
Absolutely. And I think we always sort of have recency, well, not necessarily me and you, Mike, because we've been doing this for a long time, but I think the average drafter sort of has recency bias. And last year we saw all of the older running backs produce and stay healthy. From the very top, like guys like Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, and then going way down the list, guys like Aaron Jones had a really good season for him his first year in Minnesota. James Conner stayed healthy for like the whole season for the first time in his career. Mm-hmm. And I think this is a year where things could sort of catch up with people, where avoiding the unknown upside and avoiding sort of ceiling outcome players that you get from these potential rookies, I think that could get people in trouble this year. I think just naturally everything's going to come back to normal, and you'll see more running backs getting banged up, more so than we saw last year. And I think we have the most talented rookie running back class since 2017, sort of entering the league all at one time. And the enthusiasm for a lot of these older running backs, and, you know, it was earned. Guys really earned it last year. Certainly like Josh Jacobs earned every bit of ADP this year. Kamara's still hanging in there. But it's sort of pushed down the non-Ashton Genty rookie running backs to ranges where I think they could pay off. Like Omarion Hampton going in the middle of round 4 is your ultimate like swing for the fences type pick, where could Najee Harris be a very annoying presence, especially at the beginning of the season? I think so, but I think Hampton's the kind of talent that could really overcome that and be a guy who gives you RB1 numbers, throughout the second half of the season. You're getting him at RB17. Then you reference like the other interesting rookies where RJ Harvey, running back 18, now has the Dobbins argument attached to him. Travion Henderson, bad offensive line in New England, and a team that people are just not that enthusiastic to draft. Judkins, no one wants any Cleveland Browns. They're all discounted, but he was a top 40 pick and an incredible producer in college. And then Caleb Johnson. There's been a whole like segment of people sort of making the argument that this is a big Jalen Warren season. Caleb Johnson, I think, is a very talented player. Mike Tomlin has spoken glowingly about him. And people expecting Jalen Warren to suddenly take on a massive amount of volume that we haven't necessarily seen from him throughout his whole career, I think is wishful thinking. Then you push down the line, a lot of these sort of dart throw running backs that are going to produce and in a lot of leagues be big-time waiver wire additions, and in other leagues just be bench stashes. There's a ton of these guys, Mike, like the DJ Giddin types. That we saw Taj Brooks if he wins the RB2 spot behind Chase Brown. There's Jarquez Hunter if he can overcome Blake Corum as the handcuff to Kyron Williams. Like, he's very interesting.
Rashard Smith.
There's just a huge number of rookie running backs that are competing for handcuff roles. And because of the quality of the draft class, these guys might have gone a round or two later than they would have in a draft class as recent as like 2024. 2023, for that matter, was really strong at the top, but not so deep. So I think this is going to be a season that we see rookie running backs giving us production. I think it makes sense to invest in them in your drafts, whether it's best ball, whether it's redraft. I think some of these guys are going to hit.
How about rookie receivers? We know the running backs. I mean, that was a big story in the draft, and the receiver class was certainly not what it was, far from it, from last NFL draft. But, you know, Travis Hunter way up top. What about value with rookie receivers, Theo?
Well, we've had a great trend here for fantasy football where a rookie wide receiver has finished as a top 6 scorer in PPR leagues in 4 out of the last 5 seasons. And last season, you actually had 2 of them, with Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas. The years before were Puka Nacua, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and then the only other season that a rookie didn't reach that sort of level of production was the Garrett Wilson rookie year, where he was Offensive Rookie of the Year and still really helped you in fantasy, but it was a little bit more backloaded production. So rookie wide receivers have come in and returned value every single year, and I think that the Ted McMillan, Travis Hunter duo are priced very, very well for you. We talk about like the quarterbacks at that 3-4 turn. When we look at Ted McMillan's going at the 4-5 turn, and Travis Hunter is going behind him. The argument with Ted McMillan is the Carolina offense has just been screaming for a high target earner, an alpha wide receiver who can step right in and immediately be like a 130 target or more type player. I think Dave Canales is a very smart offensive mind. We saw what he was able to get out of like Chuba Hubbard last year. That helped fantasy managers win. The year before, Rachaad White really helped fantasy managers win. And obviously, he's been the quarterback whisperer with multiple players, Baker Mayfield in Tampa Bay, Geno Smith in Seattle, and then last year, Bryce Young, who we sort of left for dead. So I think looking for Dave Canales to give us that same sort of return on value at ADP with a wide receiver. I mean, this guy knows what he's doing offensively, and I think McMillan's going to step right in there and be really, really good. Travis Hunter is interesting because unlike McMillan, he has immense target competition in Brian Thomas Jr., but not much else there. The tight end, the wide receiver 3, it's sort of a jumbled, ambiguous backfield right now. So for me, Travis Hunter is also very appealing Hunter's going around guys like Jamison Williams. He's sort of in that similar bet. I think he's going to put up immense spike weeks, and I think Travis Hunter is going to be a guy that maybe it's not going to be quite as consistent with the target volume as McMillan. It's just a big bet on talent and reasonable price tag at ADP. And then you go a little further down with the wide receivers. I think if you want to look for some guys that are potential like contingent upside plays, Emeka Egbuka is super interesting because he's the 19th overall pick, big-time producer at Ohio State. He's wide receiver 50 in drafts, but he's playing behind the oldest starting wide receiver duo in football. And we've heard Baker Mayfield mention that he's very impressed by Egbuka's talent. He said that the guy is built like a running back and he catches the ball like Chris Godwin. But he's also complimented Egbuka for his versatility, said he can play every position in the offense. So when I look at Egbuka, if Godwin or Evans misses time, I think Egbuka could be one that could return a ton of value. And Evans missed time last year, Chris Godwin missed time last year, and these guys are Evans is well north of 30, and Godwin is getting up there. So for me, Egbuka is interesting. There's a couple others. Matthew Golden has a chance to lead the wide receiver room in Green Bay. That could be a low volume once again. But Golden is still Golden's a guy where everybody wants to kind of beat up the profile. A lot of dynasty analysts were anti-Golden throughout the process.
He's too fast.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. It's some really smart people. So you guys had Scott Barrett on, who I podcast with. Mm-hmm. He's been sort of negative towards Golden. A bunch of other smart people we podcast with have made the same sort of argument. But for me, I've been taking a glass half full approach with Golden. It was the first wide receiver that Green Bay drafted in the first round since something crazy. It was 20 years or something like that. And it was very reactionary to, I think, them getting throttled in the playoff game against Philly, where Love had a bunch of turnovers. They couldn't score. So they draft Golden in round 1. They draft Savion Williams in round 3. I think they want to get a little more balanced. And Golden's main wide receiver competition is Jaden Reed, a guy we've never seen have more than a 70% target share. So I think he's interesting. Jaden Higgins, Luther Burden, Trey Harris, all of these guys are interesting. I think Kyle Williams is one, Mike, that might steam up to a spot where it's maybe a little bit too it's too expensive a price tag for a third-round wide receiver on a team that we're not so sure about. But Kyle Williams has a ton of juice. I'd say he's been sort of an off-season riser. So I think this rookie wide receivers have been ADP cheat code for drafters for multiple seasons. And, I don't want to sound positive about every positional group, but the wide receivers this year, they're much cheaper in every segment than they were last year. This is not the 2024 class. I think this is not quite as good a class, but multiple players in this class are going to get instant opportunities, and sometimes it gets kind of fast loaded, and these guys get a larger opportunity than we anticipate. So I like a number of these rookie wide receivers, but specifically the three I mentioned at the top, I think are expensive for a reason, but I think they could return big-time investments.
I'm drafting Kyle Williams when I can get May with him on the turn. That sometimes falls right. And I'm drafting Luther Burden in every draft. Those are my two takes on rookie receivers.
Luther Burden's awesome. And I think that Ben Johnson, Burden, and the slot wide receiver in a Ben Johnson offense has been cheat code. People love to say that's a ridiculous thing to say because his slot wide receiver was Amon-Ra St. Brown. Of course, Amon-Ra St. Brown was super productive. He also used Laporta in the slot, and Laporta was tight end 1 overall as a rookie. But if you go back to his days in Miami, he was attached to the Jarvis Landry season where Landry had left receptions that year and was just cheat code from the slot. So if Luther Burden can get that slot role, Mike, I think that's for the best ball drafter, Burden makes sense because it's a kind of a cheap way to take a shot at the Chicago wide receivers gaining the bench, one of them producing. Might as well go with the cheapest one.
I think the last Packers first-round receiver was Javon Walker.
Walker.
2002. They never did it with Rodgers there, and I'm sure he's, pleased about that. Theo, thank you as always. Continue to enjoy your summer, I hope, and we'll talk again soon.
We'll talk soon. Have a good weekend, guys. Take care.
Thank you. Theo Greminger. Theo Greminger, which also comes out to the OG Reminger on X, as Bulldog calls it. We got a Bob Chandler factoid for Bulldogs. It's a day late, but for his anniversary. Your favorite player ever.
Thanks.
Who died at 45, Bob Chandler.
Yeah.
After he played for Oakland, won a Super Bowl with Oakland, and then he's around the OJ scene there with the murders, and he was dead like not long after that. But you'll like this. 803-0550. Allen and the MVP, other stuff we've been talking about with our guests. We will continue along those lines here after sports. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
The Indiana Pacers avoid elimination, winning Game 6 last night, 108-91, to force a Game 7. Obi Toppin was the star of the show for the Pacers, scoring 20 points off the bench. Game 7 is on Sunday in OKC in a winner-take-all affair. Tip-off is at 8:30. Jonathan Toews signed a one-year, $2 million deal with the Winnipeg Jets. Toews has not seen an NHL roster since 2022 and 2023 when he played his final season with the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Yankees host the Baltimore Orioles tonight for a 7:05 first pitch at Yankee Stadium. The Toronto Blue Jays take on the Chicago White Sox tonight with a first pitch at 7:07 for former Bison pitcher Spencer Turnbull will get his first MLB start this season. The New York Mets travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies at 7:17. The Boston Red Sox are in San Francisco for a 10:15 first pitch. This will be the first time that Rafael Devers plays his former team after the blockbuster trade between the Red Sox and Giants last week. The Buffalo Bison's back in action tonight for a 6:45 first pitch against the Worcester Red Sox. You can hear all of that game on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
One odds maker told me Josh Allen was more valuable than Mahomes. So if Allen was out, he'd be worth about 7 points. So let's say the Bills are at home against the Raiders and they're a 14-point favorite. If Allen's out, the line is 7. If it's Mahomes against the Raiders, the line doesn't drop as much as it does for Allen, which is wild for some people to think about out loud. But he's definitely more important to what the Bills do on offense than Mahomes is for the Chiefs. And then you got Andy Reid and all the weapons that KC has. But Josh, of course he could win it again. There's no reason he can't.
A couple of things about that. That's Sam Panayovich with us last hour. I'm not sure I think he's wrong about that specific point. Allen
Mahomes and Allen, yeah.
I guess I have an easier time imagining the Chiefs staying afloat with Gardner Minshew or last year Carson Wentz. I mean, it's really, though, a little bit unfair because I know how their season went. You know, it's like in the past. And they didn't score a lot. Their defense was really good. They didn't need Mahomes to light anybody up to win, like, almost literally all of their games. I have a terrible time imagining the Bills without Allen doing anything, like getting first downs.
Yeah.
I really just think the Bills' offense would go to the bottom without him.
I think that's right. It's weird because it sounds like you're saying Mahomes isn't that valuable.
Well, valuable
in some way, but it's relative. Like you've got. Yeah, I would have more faith in Reid finding a way to make something work, scheme guys open, easy throws for guys. It's not really about, for me at all, Minshew versus Trubisky, although that's what it really comes down to, right? You're talking about the backup quarterbacks. I do not like Trubisky as the backup quarterback at all anymore here. I wish that – I hope Mike White beats him out.
Mike White. Number 14.
I can't even believe I'm saying that, but it's a little bit like how when Tyrod and EJ and was it Fitzpatrick?
Castle?
Whoever the three were. Like, who do you want to win the job? I want Tyrod to win the job. Why? Because I haven't seen it yet. No one's seen it yet, and maybe it could be half decent, right? Whereas I think I know what these other guys are, and it's not good. And Mike White, we've seen a little of Mike White. I mean, it landed great the first time I think we ever saw him in a primetime game for the Jets, and he threw for over 300 yards. And then Zach Wilson went back in, and they couldn't move the ball again. But it's been just a little bit. It's not a lot to choose from. Trubisky, you've got a long time in Chicago that he plays his way out of even a fifth-year option there. You've got the opportunity in Pittsburgh, and that's where he really lost me. Watching him play in Pittsburgh, he just could not pull the trigger. And I think you've seen that even when he's played for the Bills in preseason. I don't have any faith You know, what did our great friend, the late great John Clayton, used to say? Like, backup quarterback, split. You know, get me. You know, if you got to play 4 games, win me 2. I don't even know that Trubisky. I have faith in him doing that, regardless of who they're playing. I just don't trust him to get rid of the ball. So it is a lot of it for me is about that, but still, the advantage you've got with a schemer like Reed, I just think he'd find ways to move the ball with another guy. It's not to say Mahomes is just an incredible talent. It's just the gap is larger, I think, between what you can do without either guy when you're talking about the Bills.
And that makes, the point is that, like, greatness is one category and value is another, and they're not always the same list. Like, your MVP stuff, I've always minded this about MVP discourse, is that it supposes what teams would be without the player. Like, that's always part of the conversation. Allen versus Lamar Jackson, Allen versus Mahomes. It's always part of the conversation is what would their teams be without them? And that's not really within their control, you know, like that. Mm-hmm. Am I trying to MVP, I've said it a million times, is meant to be, in every sports sense, it's meant to identify the best player. And it doesn't. It can get twisted, and it can get twisted this way, where we're trying to figure out how good Gardner Minshew is. And, like, that's ridiculous, right? Reed, coaching, backups, receivers. Allen we all thought, you and I, had a better chance of winning last year because Diggs was gone. Should that mean anything to how good he is? Does it really mean anything to how good he is? No. It means something to, we think, how valuable he is, which is, like, that's the word on the trophy. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't think Mike White is no different for me than Trubisky is. It's just Allen and his talent, including his running, which is so unfair to a defense when it's third and medium, third and short, forget it. Like, anytime he doesn't run is maybe it's a risk. It's dumb for the Bills, you know? Like, just go get your 5 yards. Just go take them. And is Mitchell Trubisky going to do that? It's not even a fair comparison. No. So that right there, the ease with which the Bills can pick up first downs because of Allen and his running makes him, as important as any player in the league. And Baltimore, when we have examples with Baltimore playing without Lamar Jackson, and it went okay. Like, they didn't lose all the time. They didn't win all the time, but they were kind of, that's how I would kind of see the Chiefs, a team in the middle. When their guy goes out, I don't know what happens to the Bills. We hope to never find out. If Allen misses, a lot of time in a season, I think it's over. As soon as that happens, and I don't have to be right. No one knows.
Yeah.
But it does sort of shape your opinion about the roster, about the coach, about the GM, which is ultimately for me is like, I think they're really lucky to have him. I don't think they're bad. I just think he is by far, he is the principal figure in their success. And I don't know, like, I kind of want to know, but I don't. I'd like to have sort of proof in my mind of whether that's actually true, but I don't really want to know that because that means they're playing without him. Bob Chandler, are you sitting down?
For now.
You were at the game.
Come on.
What?
Go ahead.
Chiefs at Bills, 1973.
No, you got the
you
wrong.
Were at the Bengals game.
You got the right. I was at the Bengals game.
This was a Monday night game.
Yes.
That you may have watched.
I remember it well. OJ went over 1,000 yards. 7th game of the year. He went over 1,000 yards for the season.
And Bob Chandler recorded his first and only extra point.
Come on. I don't remember that at all.
So this would have been no 2-point conversion. It's 20 years off, 1973. This would have been a botched snap, maybe, and he's the holder. Would Bob Chandler have been the holder?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he runs it in, and he gets credit for an extra point. So if you look up his career stats, and I didn't know this when I brought it up a few minutes ago. I just know that he had an extra point.
Yeah.
That's it. It's on a run after an OJ touchdown.
I don't remember watching that game, and it's possible it was blacked out.
Very.
It's first year of the stadium, but still, I do not remember seeing the game on TV myself, but I was 8, so I mean it's possible I just forgot. I mean I know I have pictures of the Monday Night Football crew in the booth, like from the newspaper. It was a big deal. Monday Night Football's in town, OJ, the whole thing.
First time?
1,000 yards in 7 games. And yeah, I think so. So that was really, really cool, but I do not remember sitting and watching the game. And it's not, I mean, I guess it's possible that my parents made me go to bed. I'm 8.
Well, it's more possible that it wasn't on because we talked about the 77 season, and that team was bad, and this was like a historic year with Simpson. But again, this is like the third time this week. Something about sports in the old days you can't believe. It just doesn't sort of make sense in your mind. No one was there. The 77 Bills highlights, nobody is in the stadium.
Yeah.
Like literal entire empty sections.
Yeah.
You watch a play from behind OJ, he gets the handoff. He was on that team for a while. He got hurt, but you watch him from behind center. There's a game against Atlanta that they win 3-0.
Gee, I wonder why people didn't kill themselves to get in there.
Right. They win the game 3-0. And I remember watching this highlight a couple days ago. And it's a handoff to O.J. Simpson, and he breaks a few tackles and runs like for 8 yards. And like the entire far end zone is empty.
Yeah.
Nobody is there. For the Monday night game against Kansas City to be on TV, what? You need to sell it out days in advance.
Right.
You think that happened? Probably not.
Yeah, we could probably find the attendance for that game somewhere.
It's not on reference. I was looking.
Okay. Well,
but it would be somewhere. You're right.
Yeah.
Somebody would know.
But I just, my memory is I don't recall watching it. That doesn't mean for sure it wasn't on, but it wouldn't, like we're saying, it wouldn't be surprising that it would have been blacked out. Games were blacked out all the time.
Most games. It was a school night, and it started at 9.
Right.
Monday Night Football started at 9 until I was an adult.
Yes.
So very recently, did they change it to 9? Or from 9? Yeah, 9 o'clock. How did we live like that? What did we do from dinner time to 9 on a Monday in the football season? What did we do?
Stream episodes of Severance on Apple TV.
I mean, we just read.
Right.
We read by the fire.
Right.
We listened to the radio. We knitted. What did we do? From 6 to 9 on Monday nights in the fall in the 70s before Monday Night Football. What did we do?
We canned vegetables and fruits for the long winter ahead.
Yes, that's right. We pickled things. I don't know. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. This is WGR. Josh Allen, NFL quarterback landscape next hour, MVP stuff. Join us if you want, 803-0550. It costs nothing. This has to be short, looking at the clock. So as it's apparently unofficially Bob Chandler week, 1977, 60 catches. Second in the league.
What a sport.
Wow.
Right. Yep.
Were they playing 16 games by then? What year did that change? 77. No.
No.
Next year.
Yeah, you know the year?
I think 78.
Yeah.
They changed a bunch of rules in 78. Maybe the league was in a bad place. You look at Bills highlights, like the stadium's empty.
Right.
It's kind of amazing to think about. Like if the Bills got bad again, would the stadium be empty? No, it wouldn't be empty. Might be half empty.
The Bills were bad in the drought and the stadium wasn't empty. I mean, they weren't bad. They weren't 2-win bad.
It was almost always full.
One bad year in there, but yeah.
Right. 1977, Bob Chandler finished second in the NFL with 60 receptions. Do you love that?
I love that. 60 receptions. We're over here like dogging Kincaid for only 73 as a rookie, or Shakir leading the team with, what did he have last year? 876, 880 something. I don't even remember now. I can get it.
76.
76. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
60 catches.
Right.
50 bases.
Do you have who led the?
Oh, I forgot. 74, 77.
Yeah.
Nat Moore led in touchdown catches. I don't know if he led in receptions. Somebody had. No, I know who was. It was a running back.
Oh boy.
Can you get it?
Pass catching running back.
I think he had over 70
in the late 70s.
Yep. I don't really have a sense for how good this guy was. I mean, I know his name, and it was a good team, but it's not like a Hall of Famer or anything like that.
I have no.
It's 71.
I have no idea. The only name that came to mind right now, and I don't know if he was any kind of a pass rushing threat, but I thought of Lydell Mitchell for some reason.
Correct.
Come on!
That's the name. That's the answer.
I must have remembered him catching swing passes or something. Like, holy cow.
Lydell Mitchell.
Wow.
Led the NFL in 1977.
Oh, my weekend's made.
71 catches.
I don't even care how I play golf tomorrow or Sunday.
Lydell Mitchell.
Right, Lydell Mitchell.
He was good. He was good.
I'm going to spray a drive into the fescue. I'm going to say, Lydell Mitchell, out loud to everyone. And they're going to go, what are you talking about? I'm like, don't you mind.
I might start doing that.
Never you mind. That's going to be my new yell from the tee box.
I might start yelling out Lydell Mitchell.
I don't yell in the tee box. Only at John Gale, when he stands behind me and yells, ooh, even though he can't see the ball and it's sprayed way off to the right. And he celebrates like it's a good shot. That's what he does to me. He means well. He thinks it sounded good, so he makes a sound. Like, no, dude, that's on the tennis courts. That was not a good shot. But thank you for your support. Thank you for your support.
Thanks for caring, though.
You're not aggravating me at all, honestly, really. Hardly at all.
One player that had more, hardly at all. One player that had more than 60 catches last year, Elijah Moore.
All right.
For Cleveland. You do that for Cleveland. Always here for an Elijah Moore prediction. 803-0550, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog. Happy Friday, beautiful day. This is WGR.
The Indiana Pacers avoid elimination, winning Game 6 last night, 108-91, to force Game 7. Obi Toppin was the star of the show for the Pacers, scoring 20 points off the bench. Game 7 will be on Sunday, and OKC tip-off is at 8:30. Jonathan Toews signed a one-year, $2 million deal with the Winnipeg Jets. Toews has not been on an NHL roster since 2022-2023, when he played his final season with the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Yankees host the Baltimore Orioles tonight for a 7:05 first pitch at Yankee Stadium. The Blue Jays take on the White Sox tonight with first pitch at 7:07. Former Bison pitcher Spencer Turnbull will get his first MLB start this season. The New York Mets travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies at 7:17. And the Boston Red Sox are in San Francisco for a 10:15 first pitch. This will be the first time that Rafael Devers plays his former team after the blockbuster trade between the Red Sox and Giants last week. The Buffalo Bison's back in action tonight for a 6:45 first pitch against the Worcester Red Sox. You can hear all of the game action on our sister station, the Bet 1520. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Last night at 12:30 in the morning, I ate a can of mushrooms. I did. Pieces and stems, if you're wondering. As opposed to buttons. It was pieces and stems, which will be my next year's fantasy football team name.
Pieces and stems.
Pieces and stems.
And the Bulldog.
I should be ashamed to admit this publicly, but whatever. How long have we been doing this? I'm a junkie. I can't be trusted.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome back. It's been a fun day, I would say. Give us a call if you'd like to join in. 803-0550. Talk to Sam Panayovich about a few different subjects. Theo Greminger. Get some fantasy in. Just talking ball with a fantasy bent. Davis Maddock was on this morning, speaking of fantasy. I hope my name came up. I mean, I'm co-hosting with him every week. I don't know. I don't know if Jeremy and Joe know that or if Davis thought to mention that. Actually, I texted Davis later in the day. I'm like, you were on GR this morning? He's like, yeah, I don't know how they had my number, but I was. They called me last night. Like, well, they might have your number because you've been on this show a couple times. Like, maybe you're just in the system now. On Tuesday, on ADP Chasing, if anybody would be so kind to go watch this on YouTube, ADP Chasing, meaning average draft position in fantasy is what that means. Late in our show, I do this podcast with the guys every week. Late in the show on Tuesday, I mentioned Anthony Richardson because, we have this game we play every week where at the end of the show, we pick guys that are not being drafted at all, basically. And, here's an idea. Maybe this guy is worth drafting. Anybody outside of the first 200 picks. Richardson has fallen outside of the first 200 picks on Underdog. Because, why? Well, he's not going to play, right? Daniel Jones is going to start, and maybe that's it for Richardson already. And so I'm like, I'll take him in this game. Who knows? There's an injury. They've got a lot invested in him. Maybe he plays late in the season, and I win. And, Jacob Sanderson on the show, Colts fan, he's like, sure, that could happen. He's been saying the whole time he's never going to start week 1. But, sure.
Yep.
That could happen. I mean, these fantasy guys are looking for, whatever's possible, you want to have a piece of it, just in case. So, yeah, sure, that could happen. And then Davis goes, how long until we get the announcement that Richardson has changed his name and has gone into a new career? Literally yesterday, there's a tweet about Richardson going by the name Villain rapping. And there's a video of him rapping.
I saw the video today. Well, I saw a clip of the video. I did not listen to the audio. I didn't know there was a new name involved. I just saw a tweet that just said, hey, this is what's up with Anthony Richardson.
Davis mentioned pickleball.
Pretty good call.
Not rap.
Even though it's not rap, it's not pickleball. Still, that's a hell of a job.
When do we get the announcement that he's changed his name and gone into a new venture? And it happened yesterday. And so I went, David, I don't know if this came up this morning. Maybe the Richardson thing was out, but they wouldn't have seen the show. Right. Joe wouldn't have seen the show.
Right.
So I'm like, Davis, did you actually know about this when you said that? Because when he says it on ADP chasing, I laugh. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. That could happen. And it happened almost the next day.
Right.
So if you want it, ADP chasing Tuesday, an hour and 18 minutes. We're getting near the end. We usually go longer than that, but one of the guys, Pat Corain, was not there. It was a shorter show. Hour and 18 minutes into the show, on the nose, is when you hear him say that on Tuesday morning. And Richardson, on Thursday, it came out that he was trying this under a new name.
Boy, how did it take me until this morning to see it?
I know, right?
I'm behind. I gotta talk to my social media team.
So Richardson would, not to load the question, he would not be in your top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL?
Sadly, no. No,
Okay.
I do not think he would be there.
Okay. Would Jalen Hurts?
I think so. I think so. Yes.
Try it. So this has been bouncing around. Dave Tripoli, a friend of mine through fantasy in Philadelphia, was ripping somebody on Philadelphia radio for not ranking Hurts on a certain like Philadelphia athletes list. And then there's Charles McDonald from Yahoo, who ranked his top 10 quarterbacks, and Hurts is not on the list. So I think, there's like that's happening in the world right now. It is Jalen Hurts disrespect season. Would he be in your top 10? I'm also curious for who would be your number 5.
Oh, all right. Well, I just started spitballing names. I'm making a list. Look, everybody watching on the Twitch or on the YouTube. I found a notepad in here. Nice.
Boy, a well-known gas company getting some free
yes,
free publicity. Yeah, everybody send us your notepads.
So I just started. Right, the top 3 are, Allen, Mahomes, Jackson. Then I just got to Daniels, Burrow. So I don't have them in order necessarily. I'm just trying to just get to see how far I can get before I would get to Hurts. So now those were the ones just without even looking at teams that I thought, okay, those are obvious ones.
You want me to give you names?
No, I can. I can. Sure, that'll be easier. You talk. Yeah, go ahead.
Justin Herbert.
No. Not ahead of Hurts. For me.
Dak Prescott.
I don't think I would put him ahead of Hurts either.
Okay. I would on both, I think. I would be yes to both. Matthew Stafford.
I almost have to say yes because I love him. I think we're going to find out that I think Hurts is in the top 10, and I like him way more than you. The running is good. He's not a super great passer. He's had some great games in big spots, but he's not prolific, I don't think, throwing the ball.
We're at a important spot on the board when it comes to quarterback analysis. How much does the running matter? It probably should matter. It's a part of your value at the position. Would anybody say it isn't when it comes to Jackson or Allen? Would anybody say it isn't? But guys like Burrow don't run at all. Is he better? He just doesn't run? It's a debate. I feel like it's not to be completely ignored.
Yeah.
But playing quarterback, there's still a traditional vision of that in my mind that I'm sort of leaning back on.
I'm really interested in how much you like Herbert, and I like Prescott, but compared to Hurts, I'm just going to need to see you actually do something. Like he's lots of stats. So from a fantasy perspective, it might be closer, although the running again would tilt that. But it never comes through. Like they fall flat in the big spot constantly with him.
Well, that's Jackson too then.
Okay. But he's statistically so ridiculous that I just can't.
Prescott has won a lot of games. It's just right. I mean, the playoffs. They're the Ravens. It's the same as the Ravens.
Yeah.
Mostly. But Dallas has not gotten to the NFC Championship since Aikman.
Right.
And Baltimore has once.
And Herbert,
because they beat the Texans.
Herbert, I feel like I'm tired of including. I've decided Herbert is voted off the island. He's not. He's not in the. I elevated him too quickly, I think, on really on spec, like size, arm. Look, he can really move too. And I don't know, when he does decide to move, it works well. Like it's effective, but I don't think he does it often enough. I think Hurts would definitely be in my top 10. Jordan Love is another one that maybe I would take ahead of Hurts.
Herbert last year, 66%. That's good enough. That's fine.
Yep.
38-70 yards. It's above Allen.
Yeah.
23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Remember, Herbert threw more interceptions in one playoff game than he did all year.
Yeah.
And he played every game. 3 picks. Yeah, my thing on him has been take more chances.
Yeah.
And that reads like, he might not have been willing to do that.
Yep.
I think he's top 10.
Did Jaden Daniels' name come up yet?
So Charles Robinson's list for Yahoo does not include Hurts or Daniels. It does include Herbert, 5, Stafford, 6, Prescott, 7, Jordan Love, who you mentioned, 9, C.J. Stroud, 10, 8, Geno Smith. So that really is.
I want to fist fight this list.
It's the weekend. Maybe step back. Unless the list fights like Adrian Peterson, then I think you're okay.
Right. It is not. It's not the weekend yet.
Yes, it is.
We
Yes,
got,
it is.
We got a little while to go. Like,
Yes, it is.
I can still be in a fight. I'll be fine when the whistle blows. I will not. There will be no late hits.
You're still at work, but listen to this work. This is work.
Right.
You're still at work.
Right.
But
So-
it's totally the weekend.
So I want to fight the list.
You want to fight the list.
I don't
Adrian Peterson would fight the list and lose. Geno Smith is perfect, as is Stafford, for the point about rushing. What Geno Smith is the most accurate passer in the NFL. That's all he is the most accurate passer in the NFL. I don't know if he runs at all.
And
But isn't that good?
Yeah.
The most accurate passer in the league. I mean, that's probably good.
That and $5 will get you a decent latte. I don't know. It's just you got to be able to move. I don't even like. I include Burrow, but I would take. I would take any of the guys that we've talked about here ahead of Burrow if they can move.
Fields?
No.
You're not going to put Justin Fields above Joe Burrow?
No.
You'll put Hurts above Burrow?
Yes. I think I would if I were putting my team together, and these guys are all the same age, right? Like they're, so it's not I need this guy because he's younger or what. Like just look at the athletic profile, who they are as players. I'm taking Hurts over Joe Burrow. I think I'm probably crazy.
Yeah,
but I think the rushing. I want the rushing, with the elusiveness, the back-breaking 8-yard scramble on 3rd and 7. And Burrow just barely gives you any of that.
Does Hurts give you that much of that, or does Hurts just make it on 3rd and 1 all the time? Like, does he really get out very much?
I don't know. I don't even think about what his rushing totals are.
630 yards. That's more than Allen.
That's not just sneaks. That's a lot of damn 1-yard sneaks, if that's all sneaks.
It's 42 yards a game. Something.
And
14 touchdowns.
That's valuable.
He has 52 rushing touchdowns last 4 years. Regular season only. 52. Could that lead the NFL? No. Henry would have more than that. Allen would be close.
Yeah.
He has 10 more in the playoffs. 5 last year and then 5 2 years before when they went to the Super Bowl also. All right, well, so Prescott is not in the top 10?
No, he probably ends up there because I once I got to the NFC, I loaded up on AFC guys here: Allen, Mahomes, Jackson, Burrow, and then I, flipped the screen here and started looking at the NFC. I put Stafford down, Love, Hurts. I think I would get to Prescott.
Love Hurts.
I think I would. Yeah, right. Love Hurts, Prescott.
No Kyler Murray for you? You hate Kyler Murray.
I hate Kyler Murray.
I'm starting to.
I just do not.
I'm starting to hate Kyler Murray.
I just no.
Penix?
I love Michael Penix, but he played
not time yet.
Played 3 games.
It's not time yet.
Yeah.
Shug?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Goff. What about Goff?
Seems early. No. I hate Goff.
You hate Goff?
Yeah.
Wow. Darnold?
Goff probably belongs on this list right around. What have I got here? 1,
Poor
2,
Goff.
3, 4,
Right.
5, 6, 7,
Somebody
8,
agree
9.
with me.
I'll put Goff 10th.
Poor Goff.
Goff can be 10th.
Hi, I'm Jared Goff. All I do is win and go to playoff games and Super Bowls.
Right.
Well, that's really a stretch. He went to 1, and they scored 3 points.
It is. It's convenient when we want to make a talking point out of how a narrative it's been disproven. It should be dead and buried, but you still cling to it. Like it's your the first impression, like the first thing you ever thought about a player, and you just can't get it out of there, no matter how much you see them do well. Goff and McVay, and like the book on that was he can't do it without McVay telling him what to do. Once the headset goes off, and like that is still stuck there. And I don't even really believe it. But when without thinking too hard, you say Jared Goff, and I go, and it's that. Like I have to not react quickly when you say Jared Goff's name, because I need to eradicate that from my brainstem, as I don't think it's fair anymore, but it's still there. I got work to do on Jared Goff.
But you're not going to do it.
No.
And you'll always feel this way.
In a few months, you're going to bring up Jared Goff, and I'm going to go,
15-2 last year.
Yeah. QB wins.
4,600 yards, 37 touchdown passes. No, whatever.
Right.
Well, he's still bad.
The coordinator. Let's see him do it without.
Well,
let's see him do it without McVay. Oh, he did. Okay, let's see him do it without Ben Johnson. He's going to have an MVP year, and I'm going to be pinning it on some coach that held his hand the whole time.
You'll give someone else the credit.
Yes. I have a Jared Goff blind spot, I think is what I'm revealing here.
But you know it.
Yes.
So
I guess I like it.
You want to have it.
I welcome it.
No Stroud?
I do.
You don't like him either?
I'm not crazy about Stroud. That's mostly the rush to anoint him and them last offseason, and I'm going to hold that against them until they show that they're, elite. And then, they might. He does have he's got a lot going for him. But I just don't, when it rushes like that, you already hear me talking about Daniels. I love Daniels. I love Daniels in the draft. I love how he played last year. Today, I don't know, what do you think? I don't know. And I'm even mentioning Stroud in the process of talking. Like, that matters. That's related at all in any way. But, yeah, I want to stop talking about my thought process because I think it's becoming pretty obvious that it's often severely flawed.
Tua? No.
I am done.
Can't be the top 10.
I'm done.
You're out.
I feel like I wanted to defend him because I thought it was almost insane the amount of criticism he got, but I don't think he's that good.
I think maybe Prescott and Goff might both suffer from the same blind spot. I mean, what you said, really, like, make fun of. I wasn't even saying it. QB wins. I mentioned Goff's record,
right?
But Dak Prescott they just won constantly. Last year, he's had a couple of big injuries. Last year included, he wasn't even on the field for a lot of it, and they've won constantly. But he does not get that respect. And, you can make your own theories as to why. But Goff also he suffers from this, I think.
Yep.
Just not usually considered top tier. I don't know if they belong top tier, but I think they probably belong second or third. I think Prescott does for sure. Prescott over Goff for me easily. Prescott's like my number. He's top 5 for me. I think he's great.
You know what I think hurts Prescott with maybe somebody like me is his own team sort of treated him like they weren't sure he was that great.
But if it's because it's Dallas, that's probably a compliment.
Sure, but I don't know that if they had just signed him whenever they needed to sign, like the Bills did with Allen, like it wasn't even I mean, it was never even awake. Like, the boat was not even running. It was just floating, like, it was just not even barely moving, but you're still nothing. No disruption at all. Just like, hey, do you think the Bills will get oh, they did it. That was Allen's first big contract. Prescott has been like every turn there's him and Hahn and franchise tag. Oh, are they going to trade him? Oh my gosh! Now part of that's because it's Dallas, and like that is like a content factory in and of itself. But they always play hardball with him, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I guess, but they're idiots. I think.
That's right.
I sort of think that's a good look for him. That Jerry Jones doesn't maybe respect him as much as he should. I'm not sure that's it exactly. 803-0550 for your calls. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here on this sunny Friday. This is WGR.
We've been living in sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over, it's about time. Oh, sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole. Oh,
6 last night, 108-91 to force Game 7. Obi Toppin was the star of the show for the Pacers, scoring 20 points off the bench. Game 7 will be on Sunday in OKC. Tip-off is at 8:30. Jonathan Toews signed a 1-year, $2 million deal with the Winnipeg Jets. Toews has not been on an NHL roster since 2022-2023, when he played his final season with the Chicago Blackhawks. The New York Yankees host the Baltimore Orioles tonight. It's a 7:05 first pitch at Yankee Stadium. The Toronto Blue Jays take on the Chicago White Sox tonight. First pitch at 7:07. Former Buffalo Bison pitcher Spencer Turnbull will get his first MLB start this season. The New York Mets travel to Philadelphia to take on the Phillies at 7:17. And the Boston Red Sox are in San Francisco for a 10:15 first pitch. This will be the first time that Rafael Devers plays his former team after the blockbuster trade between the Red Sox and Giants last week. The Bison's back in action tonight for a 6:45 first pitch against the Worcester Red Sox. You can hear all of the game action over on our sister station, the Bet 1520. Those are your Paddock Chevrolet sports headlines. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Joe Cali for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Two of the things that are pretty different is that there are 5 quarterbacks that go off before pick 50, which is pretty strange. In most leagues, you've got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, and Joe Burrow. There's always kind of the quarterback who threw the highest amount of passing touchdowns the year before kind of always gets overdrafted the next year. And then the other thing is that because no running backs really got hurt last year, the market has decided that being 29, being 30, being 31 in the case of Derrick Henry is no impediment, that there basically is no adjusted cost for running backs being past the best of their aging curve.
Love it. Friend Davis Maddock on This Morning. Hardest working guy in fantasy. I think maybe that's more Theo. But, man, Davis, I admire him so much. He, like a lot of guys in a lot of industries, a lot of fields, but including fantasy, was let go by a company called SportsGrid, I guess maybe last spring. And he's very open about everything. He's like, he went on streams like, what am I going to do? And he decided, he's been in fantasy for a long time. He decided, I'm just going to try to make this work. And he puts out so much stuff. And he, every time I go in the Discord, the ADP chasing, the ship chasing family, they're always talking about Davis. Something he said, I mean, just like they're always talking about him. He's got a knack for it. Just being, Joe is a little bit like this, Sneaky Joe, where like he just has a way of saying a thing that people
gets traction,
love or hate, and they just run with it. And I just think he's done a great job. You know, making it work, betting on himself, as they say, betting on himself.
Well, good for him. Good for him. Not that he lost his job, but that he made something great out of it, losing his job. I made a sound there. I was sighing because I was hearing the song playing behind, which is an all-time great song, and one of the greatest guitar players who ever lived and was killed way too young, Randy Rhoads. But the song has been ruined by the New England Patriots for me. They always ran out at their like opening night after the Super Bowl.
Crazy Train.
To Crazy Train. And I hope if this hasn't happened to you, if you have liked that song or loved that song or love Ozzy or Randy Rhoads, that I'm not planting a seed with you. But like for me, like it's not my favorite, but I recognize, I mean, it's an iconic song, and he is, again, a fantastic guitar player. I don't hear the song without seeing Tom Brady running out onto the field with fireworks going off and the Super Bowl trophies. And it really pisses me off. I hate when a song gets sort of co-opted like that, at least for me. Like, it's one of the reasons why fans of certain bands or artists get mad when the song ends up in a commercial.
Or on a politician's campaign
because you just like, I don't want this to turn into that. Now what? Oh, no. And that song definitely has had that happen to it. Lust for Life by Iggy Pop has been I don't know. I haven't heard the Jim Rome show in many, many years since it left our era. We used to be on before our show. And he started using that, and I assume still does. It's a great theme song. It's a great song. I can't hear it and not think of I'm waiting for Jim Rome to start talking every time I hear the song play now. And it's a great song. I used to dance to that song at the Continental. It's gone. It's just bye-bye, Iggy Pop and Lust for Life. Jim Rome took it. I mean, credit to him. I mean, he's a huge star in our industry. But I'd like the song back, please.
What about Shout? I mean, you hear the original Isley Brothers Shout at weddings. Like, almost always.
Before the Shout song existed, I heard that song at weddings. That's right. Yes.
I remember being at a wedding in Virginia a couple of years ago and, drunk. And, everybody's on the dance floor. It's one of those scenes like you love it. It just all pretense is forgotten. You're just sort of going crazy.
I'll bet.
And the Shout song played, and I'm in Virginia. I'm like, all right, my Western New York crew that was there, we got to do our part here.
Right.
Because nobody else in this room knows the song the way we know it.
Right.
That's when you'll get me to sing it, is when I'm in a setting like that.
Sure, yeah. I'll bet people who hate the Bills that are, other fans of other teams feel like I feel about Lust for Life and about Crazy Train about the show. Like if they loved the Shout song, the Isley Brothers song.
If they know it.
If they know that it's been co-opted in that way, they probably would be mad.
Which would you? Like, does the Shout song transcend to the point where if you're a fan of another team, you know that that's the Bills thing? I don't even know. Like, it's not, they don't take the field to it.
No.
It's only after scores when the TV's at commercial.
Yeah. The fan bases, it's so much easier to know stuff about fan bases and like what their things are. But I'll bet the average football fan doesn't even know. Because how many teams' fight songs do I know? Like other teams, I know the Steelers do this thing with the stick song.
Yeah, Renegade.
But I know that because of the Bills. Like
same.
And they do talk about it now on a primetime game, like on Sunday Night Football. They'll come back from break and Mike Tirico will say like, "Oh, we're having a moment here where they're." So you get that. But that is not after a score, like you're saying. So the Shout song, in the same way, is not presented on a primetime game or any game really, because it's you're watching commercials. You come back and they're kicking off. So I'll bet not a lot of football fans know about it.
You and I share a nostalgic memory, a happy one, of the Bum Phillips Oilers teams.
Right.
We both loved. It starts maybe with the fact that they weren't the Steelers. They could almost beat the Steelers. Like
right.
They're the Bills to the Chiefs. They're like, they beat them once in a while, never when it mattered. So Houston Oilers, that song, you would hear that play like
sorry.
I can't. They would hear that play like after a touchdown on a Monday night game, they would play We're the Houston Oilers, that song, and it was fun.
Yep.
And like it was another thing to like about the Oilers. And I never knew eventually I learned that Miami had the same song.
Yes, I've come to know that as well.
And I don't remember ever hearing it on Monday night games in Miami.
Right.
Maybe they played it at different moments or something, but there was the same song, We're the Miami Dolphins, to the tune of the We're the Houston Oilers. And I don't know if it just like started one and not the other, or they just two different teams bought the package at the same time. I don't know. I don't know the story.
Or if it's based on a song, like Shout is based on a song, and I just don't happen to know the song. I don't know the backstory, and they both just co-opted the same song with words specific to their team. I don't know.
It's just like what were the lyrics? We're the Houston Oilers. We're the Houston Oilers. We're the Houston Oilers number one. We've got the offense. We've got the defense. Da 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 da. Like that's the whole. That's not Gershwin.
Right.
I mean that's somebody made a killing, and maybe they didn't tell the other team that they were also selling it to the first team.
I don't know what happened there. Yeah, I don't know. I would maybe I'll Google this. I don't think I'm gonna have time during a segment to do it, but I'm curious if Miami, if they both kind of concurrently started using the song, or did Miami take it over after Houston left the league or something? Maybe?
No.
They had it way back when.
Way back when, yes.
So I only came to know about it in the last 10 or 15 years. I think that Miami has that song. I never heard the biggest rival of the Bills. The 90s, Marino, Kelly, Shula, Levy. Never one time. Because it would have made me really mad.
Yes.
If I'd heard that song at a Dolphins game, while, if they did something good to, hurt the Bill, beat the Bill, whatever, it would have really made me mad because I loved the Oilers and I loved that song. And I'd be like, you can't have that song. But they probably had it. Maybe they even had it first. I don't even know. But I never heard about it until it's so weird that it was such a prominent part of the Oilers thing back then, and it completely was under the radar with the Dolphins. Again, for me, I just never heard about it until pretty recently.
Yeah. Here's Billy with us. Hi, Billy. Hello? Okay, call of the day.
There's a lot of phone fumbling going on there. Wow.
Very good.
Couldn't even hear any turn signals going. It was just fumbling the phone.
The Mets have lost 6 straight.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Too bad. I don't have any interest in them anymore. I have.
Why not?
Because the Dallas Stars lost.
Oh, right. Makes sense.
Right.
Mets at Phillies on Apple tonight.
Duh.
And then the Royals and the Padres. For those of you so inclined to be watching baseball on Apple TV.
Did you ever go look for the game on Prime the other night?
No.
I didn't either. Was it the Yankee game? Yeah, the Yankee game was going to be on Prime because I saw it on the bottom line on Wednesday. Yeah, I neither went home on Wednesday and turned the game on.
No, you know what I did instead? So it was like 7:30, and my daughter was studying and doing something. My wife and son had been away. And you know what I'm going to do? Guess.
Draft some fantasy
Absolutely teams? Right.
Yeah.
Nailed it. First guess. So I signed up for the Big Gorilla, which is redundant, but it's still a cool tournament. The Big Gorilla. You've never seen a small gorilla. The Big Gorilla, and drafted a team in that and got excited. It's a big tournament, $1 million up top, like big tournament. And so, I sequestered myself in the basement where it was cooler. And you know what? I told my daughter, I'm going to be down here. Dad is going to be down here.
Mm-hmm.
If you need me to cut up an apple for you, whatever it is, I'll be down here. So I drafted a Big Gorilla team, and the adrenaline was pumping. 20 rounds, and I got to the end. It was like 9:30, hour and a half. You know what I thought? I want to do another one.
Wow.
So I signed up for the 10 o'clock. If the 10 o'clock had like 7 open spots, no way. But it had 2. I'm diving back in. And I drafted a second one. And I told my daughter again, I'm going to be down here a little longer.
Okay.
So I did not watch the Yankees. I broke the streak from watching the Yankees and went downstairs and drafted 2 Big Gorilla FFPC teams. One from the 112, one from the 102. And in both, my first pick was a tight end.
Bowers
at 102, tight end premium. I think he's the most valuable player in fantasy in that format. And McBride at 112, which is pretty good value for him. There you go. You asked. Sort of. No. You asked if I watched Apple TV Prime.
Yeah.
I did not. I did that. I'm telling you what I did instead.
I guess I did walk right into that.
You so did. But you could ask a lot of things, and that's what you're walking into, as you know. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog will be right back. Thanks for the call, Billy. This is WGR. Talking quarterbacks this hour, top 10. Certain top 10 list is creating a buzz on Twitter. Charles McDonald. No Jalen Hurts. No Jaden Daniels. You know, I can respect with Daniels, like, give me 2 years before I go ahead and put you above guys like Prescott. A little bit of a hot take. I'm not sure I want to say top 10, but I am hearing it all the time, and I'm buying in. I think next year at this time, Trevor Lawrence will be on my top 10. I could see that really going well. I mean, it had better.
Yeah. I mean, they're pot committed, salary-wise. New coach, great reputation for getting guys off. Big-time receivers, 2 years in a row in the draft.
And Thomas hit. I mean, that's a grand slam. So you already know that he's great.
Yep.
And now Travis Hunter.
I like that. I've been trying to push them up, down.
Down? Way to do that today.
However that works. Yeah, I don't know.
The reverse AFC power rankings?
Next week's another week.
So right, Bulldog. So right. Maybe we'll get to it. So you're in on Jacksonville a little bit.
Yeah, I am. I was initially really... The coach initially gave me like all the Adam Gase googly eye weird vibes. But then he started talking and, he does do some odd things, make some odd choices. But I think talking about the receiving core there, I kind of want to trust him.
They're interesting to think about in the same way Chicago is, where you have Caleb Williams only 1 year, but it was a disaster. And they went and got the considered best coach and best coach for him. More receiver talent in the draft, round one, round two, Loveland, Burden. Like, no excuses, the Bears. And Jacksonville, I think, is kind of the same. I'm lukewarm on Houston. I think Indianapolis could really be hurting, and I think Tennessee has got too far to go. So Jacksonville as a division winner bet is interesting to me. Depends on, Sam's going to tell me, shop around.
Yep.
Don't just settle for, plus 280. Shop around. He got into some of that with us earlier. We talked about Dallas. We talked about Prescott here. Back to Dallas with Sam Panayovich and the NBA Finals, a little bit of U.S. Open, different topics as usual with Sam. He's a lot of fun. We'll have that for you next as we continue on this Friday. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day upright. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could never imagine something better. Yeah, right. Now you're cooking on high heat in the middle of the street. Roller coaster, take me to a better time. Let's go. All sing your high line with the roller coaster of life. Yeah. It's time to all choose your timeline on the roller coaster of life. You seem to easily forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing gonna sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. To all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to